Hey guys, this is Amy, Hufflepuff admin for Hogwarts House Habits. I am about to do the first few paragraphs of Prisoner of Azkaban from the Illustrated Edition for our Hogwarts House Habits 2018 Harry Potter read-along. I'm going to very quickly check the inbox, see if anybody sent anything to us. Just had to get back to Tumblr. There's a small child, you will have to ignore her. Don't see any asks. I can check the post really quick, see if anybody said anything, and no. So I guess you guys just get to kind of hear me ramble. Like I said, I'm doing the Prisoner of Azkaban read-along. Prisoner of Azkaban has always been one of my favorite books. Probably as I've gotten older, it might have changed to Goblet of Fire. I believe I'm also doing the read aloud for that too. But Prisoner of Azkaban was always one of my favorites. I hate the movie because it is my favorite book. And then I don't quite remember my first time reading it to myself. I do vaguely remember certain things towards the end of the book. The reveal with Sirius and all of that. I strangely remember that I was in my bedroom reading that when I was, probably 12. There's also cats out here with me, so you will, if you hear playing or if they jump up, I'll pull them in and you can say hi, cats. But yeah, the third book was always my favorite. I'm pretty sure that I said this in my posts about the first two. The first and second Harry Potter book, my 6th grade homeroom teacher read to us. We never made it through all of the second book, and I don't remember when I got it or when I started doing it. I do remember absolutely loving the third book, though. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I used to be a big Animorphs kid and Babysitter's Club, and those books sort of had the kind of predictable plot. You always fought the big bad guy at the end of it, and then they always made it through. And the first and second Harry Potter books both have Harry kind of fighting Voldemort at the end of it. So I sort of expected every Harry Potter book to just be a bigger and badder fight with Voldemort until the end. So the third one, I really appreciated that it changed that. It kind of took the um, equation and switched it up. You didn't have him fighting Voldemort again. You had him learning more about his past and kind of coming to terms with what he didn't know about his past. And I think that that's one of the reasons why this was always my favorite book. For this read along, I probably will be doing the illustrated edition when I have a chance to read. Otherwise, I'm also going to be reading the e-reader, just because I have the Kindle app and it's therefore always on my phone, so I can read it when it's dark and read it downtime at work, that sort of thing, or lunch breaks, that kind of thing. Other than that, kind of like Jamie did in the first video, I've got some of the illustrations bookmarked to share with you. This is going to be kind of my first time reading the illustrated edition. I have read through the first and second Harry Potter books in the illustrated editions. So you keep seeing me kind of look away because my cats are out here and they're hilarious. So I will show you the cats, I promise. At the end of this video, you will get to see them. No, you don't meow at me. But yeah, so we're going to be reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is year 3, written by J.K. Rowling, illustrated by Jim K. Not Kim J. I can't tell. Ooh, I hope that didn't just mess up the white balance, but Azkaban as the cover pages, or the, inside covers. Cover page with stormy seas around Azkaban, and then also Azkaban for the other cover page. Dedication page with the cells of Azkaban. I really just appreciate the art in these books, but the chapter pages. And now we come to chapter 1, Owl Post. Alright. Harry Potter was a highly unusual boy in many ways. For one thing, he hated the summer holidays more than any other time of year. For another, he really wanted to do his homework, but was forced to do it in secret in the dead of night. And he also happened to be a wizard. It was nearly midnight, and he was lying on his front in bed, the blankets drawn right over his head like a tent, a torch in one hand, and a large, leather-bound book, A History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot, propped open against his pillow. Harry moved the tip of his eagle-feather quill down the page, frowning as he looked for something that would help him write his essay. Witch burning in the 14th century was completely pointless. Discuss. The quill paused at the top of a likely-looking paragraph. Harry pushed his round glasses up his nose, moved his torch closer to the book, and read, "Non-magical people, more commonly known as muggles, were particularly afraid of magic in medieval times, but not very good at recognizing it. On the rare occasion that they did catch a real witch or wizard, burning had no effect whatsoever. The witch or wizard would perform a basic flame-freezing charm, and then pretend to shriek with pain while enjoying a gentle tickling sensation. Indeed, Wendelin the Weird enjoyed being burnt so much that she allowed herself to be caught no fewer than 47 times in various disguises." Harry put his quill between his teeth and reached underneath his pillow for his ink bottle and a roll of parchment. Slowly and very carefully he unscrewed the ink bottle, dipped his quill into it, and began to write, pausing every now and then to listen, because if any of the Dursleys heard the scratching of his quill on their way to the bathroom, he'd probably find himself locked in the cupboard under the stairs for the rest of the summer. We can stop there, otherwise I'll just keep reading, but the next little bit is of course summarizing how terrible the Dursleys are, because they're abusive, terrible people, and they probably should not be raising children, probably. And then it goes on to talk about and summarize all of his friends, but here's the illustration for that page. You can see Harry under the cover writing his essay. Unlike in the movie, where they were like, haha, look, he can just do magic, and it's not like we're about to have a scene where he blows up his aunt and then gets in trouble for casting underage magic, because that would be a continuity issue, and it's not like the Harry Potter movies have ever had a continuity. I'm not bitter. So now I'm going to share some of the illustrations from this book that I really like, and this was just flipping through it just a few minutes ago, kind of seeing what sorts of things, what are you doing? What sorts of pictures were really good, and just the ones that kind of like reached out to me, really showed a scene and kind of how I felt about it, that sort of thing. The first one is the Sirius as the Grim. What I kind of appreciate about this is that I feel like it's reminiscent of his portrait and how it's described, as he's got the long matted hair and just sort of stares at the camera. I think that they did a good job with the dog of kind of capturing both his human and an animal essence. And let's just make sure that I didn't lose any of my other little pieces of paper, because I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was all the way back here. The next one is Crookshanks and Scabbers. Crookshanks, I think, is one of the reasons that I would want to have a cat, and we didn't ask. I'm not sure if it's still in our drafts or if we queued it, kind of what's going on about what magical creature would you want to have or be, and if it couldn't be a dragon, because dragons are super cool, I would probably want to do, I think the cat is part Kneazle, just because I feel like they'd be really, really useful to have. We've got the page on werewolves. I really appreciate. I had to do this backwards because it's not like set up kind of like a mirror, but it says property of the Hogwarts Library, and that's really cool. This is from the section where Snape like tells them to skip ahead and write the essay on werewolves. It's always interesting to me because like in the last two books they've really kept, you know, Ron especially has been like, aren't there werewolves in the Forbidden Forest? But werewolves are only werewolves like in the full moon, so it's like once a month. Kind of why are you worried about that? Like, I feel like there's other scarier things you should be worried about in the Forbidden Forest other than a thing that is usually human. I also, while I was skimming the book, found something about werewolf pups. I think, or was that in Chamber of Secrets? It might have been in Chamber of Secrets that they were saying, like, Hagrid would probably want to raise werewolf pups under his bed. And that kind of raised some questions for me because, like, are werewolf pups children that were bitten by werewolves, or are werewolf pups the children of two werewolves, or do you only need to have, like, one werewolf in order to have a... I don't understand wizarding genetics, okay? I have questions. Moving on from the werewolves. This is from the scene where the Harry sees the Grim again at Hogwarts. I just really like how dramatic that is. And I like how they sort of take the dog and you can sort of see that it's a real skinny dog, like probably starving, which would make complete and total sense. Again, I just want to make sure that like none of my little pieces of paper fell out because I've been picking up this book. We've got the Marauders map, designed differently than we usually see it in the book. It sort of like takes the castle apart. And I know that there was another one. Give me a second. Obviously my little pieces of paper have fallen out. It's trying to find is the pictures of the Griffins when Hagrid introduces them and they have that lesson. I don't remember where it is, and I'm sorry this got like super kind of not awkward, but like kind of awkward. There we go. And look, there's my paper that just sunk to the bottom. But so the Griffins in Hagrid's first lesson, Buckbeak, of course, front and center, first and foremost, front and center. Same difference. And then, oh, you might see a cat because I think he might jump up here. He's right behind my computer on the other chair. The other Griffin picture, he's in, you can see he's in Hagrid's hut right now, which is pretty cool. I've got like 3 more. Okay, so this one is technically 3, but still it's just like really cool. The black dog. I love this picture, but then to make it better, we've got his middle and his tail, and I just really like that they did that. So here's kind of what I was talking about. Like here's the portrait of Sirius, and it sort of like goes back to that dog picture where the dog is sort of facing front and giving that glare of a look. So I just really appreciate that, and personally, like I really like Gary Oldman as an actor. I don't like Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. My parents were not real big on like, oh, this show is rated R, you can't watch it. So I remember watching the show Oz on HBO when I was a kid, and it was only in one episode, but there was this some type of Eastern European guy was a prisoner in Oz for one episode, and he had real shaggy hair. It wasn't quite elbow length, but it was like super. It was shaggy and long, and that's always how I pictured Sirius. And so when they had this guy with like short curly hair, I was like, um. But again, I really hate that movie. So I have a lot of internal rage for that movie. Excuse me. And the last picture that I'm going to share is the sketch of Lupin. Um, he looks so worn, and it's just pretty awesome. One more time so that you can really see it. But yeah, so that's kind of the read aloud. Of course, you will see me sharing my live blogging reactions on both my book blog that I'll share onto Hogwarts House Habits. You can still participate. It's still going on. I believe that we are going to go through like September to read all the books because it was either like 9 months or it was going to take us like 14 months. So yeah. But we are up to Prisoner of Azkaban. It is the very beginning of the book, so if you've sort of been like, oh, I don't know if I can read or that sort of thing, definitely do it. Also, like, you don't have to follow our schedule. If you want to read it slower, read it faster, tag us. Use the HHH Readalong tag. Use the HP Readalong 2018 tag. We really just wanted to revisit these books because we all share a love of them. They're all a big part. It's a big part of all of us, and I'm guessing it's the same if you follow us. But yeah, starting Prisoner of Azkaban, definitely read live blog. Just share your opinions of the book in general. We'd love to hear them. And I promised you guys to see my cat, so two of them are out here. Rose went back inside because she doesn't actually like being outside. I'm a little bit surprised that Amadeus is here, but yeah, I've got 3 cats. We've got, oh my gosh, I can't see. We've got Amadeus. Hi, buddy. And then, where'd she go? I'm going to set this back here because she is right next to me. Hello. And then we got Darwin. She's unhappy because I'm holding her. Look at the camera. Yes, my thumb cat. All right. So that's the first couple of paragraphs of Prisoner of Azkaban. Send us ask, participate. Let us know if you want to see anything later in the book. If you've got any specific questions. Justin's going to do a summation at some point of everything. So if you have questions specifically for Justin, go for it. If you have questions specifically for me, Jamie, Caitlin, send them to us. We're happy to answer them. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.